very straightforward, simple movements like squats, chest presses, things like that. Your second movement is going to be a combination upper lower body, but again, we're still working within that 8 to 12 rep range. Both movements are a 202 tempo, so nice and controlled. I'd like you to be doing your A movement 4 times and your B movement 3 times. If by chance you get to a point where you've got this down pat and you want to do 4 sets of everything, go for it. The core part that we're starting with is very straightforward, not no equipment necessary except your band, because we're going to be doing clamshells, your tubular band. First, just getting into a prone position, getting everything nice and lengthened. We're going to be doing Superman. So, like I said, make sure everything's lined up. Hands are just a little bit wider than your shoulders with your thumbs up and toes are pointed. On your exhale, you're going to lift and lower. Lift and lower, focusing on keeping that head in a nice neutral position. Then you're going to flip onto your side. You're going to add your band. All right, right above the knees. All right, lining everything up. Be resting on your elbow or head on your arm. Make sure the shoulders and hips are in alignment. Then you can play around with exactly where you want to put your feet based on wanting to really feel this in the glute medius, kind of right behind the hip bone. So feet are going to stay stacked on top of each other and abs are engaged. Don't let your hips roll forward and back. Lift and lower, keeping some tension on the band the whole time. Lift and lower. And I'm not really going to give you a rep range on this. I'm like, until you really feel the burn, basically. Which I would imagine would be probably around 20 reps. Exhale as you lift, inhale as you lower. Thinking about drawing the belly button in towards the spine as you inhale. Okay. Then we're going to move on to, you're going to do that twice. Then you're going to go into tabletop oblique crunch, followed by an alternating leg drop. So, tabletop position, 90-degree angle here, hands behind the head. Keep this, fingertips. Your heads are in your fingertips. You're not clasping your fingers behind your head. Let your head rest into your fingers and rotate back down. You don't need to bring everything down. The shoulders should still be off the ground just a little bit. Rotate and back to neutral. Rotate and back to neutral. So after you do a few of these reps, you should really feel your lower abdominals engaging, also helping to maintain this position with your legs. If your feet are on the ground, you don't have to use the lower abdominals as much. That's why I put you up with that tabletop. Alternating leg drop, arms by your side, palms up, legs straight. Slowly roll. A little quicker on the way up. Slowly lower. Quicker on the way up. If you'd like to make it more challenging, it's not putting pressure on your back. You can increase the challenge by doing a double leg drop. So you could always start as a double leg drop and then turn into an alternating, or just stick with the alternating pattern. So that is everything for your intro and core work for Program B. So here we're going to be starting with legs. You have a sumo squat. That's the one where you're focusing on inner thighs and toes are turned out, and then a suspended lunge with a bilateral bicep curl. So setting up, I've got really light weights. You're going to grab one heavy dumbbell, right? So you're going to find wherever you feel comfortable rotating from the hips. You don't want to go and rotate more than what feels natural. Making sure you've got your weight in your heels, not into the balls of the feet. Getting those shoulders back, chest nice and tall, down to up to tempo. Thinking about squeezing the inner thighs on the way up. The main thing on this one is that if your toes are pointed this way, then your knees are going to be pointing that way. If your toes are really wide, then your knees need to point in the same direction as those toes. They need to be lining up with those toes. So if you find yourself with your feet turned out and your knees kind of caving in, just bring the angle of the feet in a little bit to match with the knees, right? Up to down to tempo. 8 to 12 reps. Then you got the suspended lunge, you got your bench. You can put your bench near the mirror so that you can face the mirror and check your form. We'll start with left foot up. Alright, so you should be at a distance that you can keep those hips underneath you while you're doing the lunge. You don't want to have too much of a pitch forward. So keeping the torso fairly upright, just the toes on the bench. You don't have like the whole foot on the bench, just the toes on the bench, where I like to put it towards the edge of the bench, down to, and start your curl on the way up, uncurl on the way down, and curl on the way up. 8 to 12 reps, one side, and then switch. Alright, like I said, this program isn't real complicated. I wanted to get some heavier weights in, get a little more strength working on this program. But adding upper lower body combinations really should elevate your heart rate. So you determine how much rest you really need between sets. If you want to keep the heart rate up, less rest between sets. Regular flat bench, dumbbells, chest press. So if you're working with heavier weight, remember one of those ways that you can help bring the weight up and not put strain on the back is to bring the feet up and then kind of just rock everything back, right? And then bring your feet back down to the ground. Palms facing forward, down to, up to tempo. Elbows aren't way out here and they're not in close. They're a little bit of an angle, up to, down to tempo. Thinking about remembering that it's a chest press, you want to be thinking about keeping the chest active throughout the movement. So if you bring your elbows all the way down here, you're now feeling a stretch in the chest. You don't want to lengthen through the chest. You want to keep the chest active. So right about here is my range of motion. Everybody's different. Up to, down to tempo. Dumbbells down, roll it up, and you got some bench out of the way. You're going to move over to your cables. Do chest flies with a forward lunge. The bands don't really configure well for the fly. So you know you've got the handles just a little bit below the shoulders. You're going to do your forward lunge. Once you're out here, fly, keep the fly, and press back. Forward lunge, fly, and back. Alternating lunge, fly. So you're counting the number of flies. You're going for 8 to 12 chest flies. So there's your chest combo. Okay, going into 2 back movements. We've set this up so many times I don't feel like I really need to go through it. But you've got your lat pull down, so you're seated. Your feet directly underneath your knees. Your hands are wide towards the curve of the bar. You're leaning back just slightly, keeping those abs engaged. Bring the bar to the chest or to the collarbone, using the collarbone, not the chest. Up by the collarbone, elbows go towards the back of the room. Up to, down to tempo. Arnold press. That's when with your palms start facing forward and then your hands end up over the shoulders. The back of the bench is not exactly upright. It's got just a very slight incline to it. That way you can keep a natural arch in your back and you feel supported by the bench. And then you're going to be doing squat scaption. So give yourself a good bicep curl. Make sure your head's supported by the bench. If your elbows are down here, at any point in the movement, you're not using your shoulders. So start in a position where you feel those shoulders are engaged. Your hands should be pretty much in line with your shoulders back. A little bit outside the shoulders, but in, horizontally in line with the shoulders. And then you're going to start your press and you start to rotate those palms forward. Down to, up to tempo. Down to, up to tempo. This one may take a little more rest between sets. You're going to get straight up, and you're going to go right into squat and scaption. So your hands are a little bit outside the hips. Sometimes our hands are right in front of the hips, but because of the squat movement, you need to bring your hands a little bit further away from the body. So you're not down here where the shoulders aren't working. Your hands are just slightly forward, so you feel those shoulders working in the very beginning. Watch your form, down to, up to, arms lower on the way down, and back up. Make sure you're really sinking back into your squat. And because that was a lot on the shoulders, you're probably going to need a good minute rest before you go back into this. So if you're looking for something to get the heart rate back up, do some jumping jacks, do some armor lunges, something to keep the heart rate up. But I think you're going to find with these that you need to rest a little bit more between sets than some of the other movements that we were doing. All right? So those are my guidelines for you. What else was I going to say? Oh, the suspended lunge with bicep curls. So a way to make that one more challenging, let's say I'm giving you 10 pounds as your bicep curl, and you're not ready to increase weight, but you hit that 12 rep max. Go ahead and just slow the tempo down. So tempo is supposed to be 2 on the way down, no pause at the bottom, 2 on the way up. You can make that even slower. You can go count of 3 on the way down, no pause at the bottom, count of 3 on the way up. So your bicep curls are slower.